We will delete that part out. 3, 2. What's going on, everybody? It's Asad Hashim Ali back again with another episode of Behind the Grind, episode number 25. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I came back in front of the camera. I was almost hesitant to do this, but spent the entire winter vacation thinking about what would be the new show, what would be the new podcast, what would be the new lineup of guests. And today's guest is actually someone that I've known for a very long time. But he's quite booming, he's quite popping right now, and especially when we look at what's happening in the world. So I feel like the knowledge that he can bring and the information he has to share is going to be super relevant and very critical also for how even this podcast might evolve. Shaun Ansari.
Hello.
What's up?
I've already broken character.
I like that.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This
My
is
pleasure.
My second podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of crushed to see that I am the second one, because I had you on the list for a long time. I just never approached you.
I honestly was shying away from all of this, and then I did the one for Nixer, and that's when I.
That is something else. That's a alumni going back, giving
No,
back.
but
I like that.
even then, they asked me, and I said I'm not ready, and you kept asking me, Kazi kept asking me as well, like please come, and I just said I have nothing to talk about right now, and then when we started the startup, the gaming startup, that's when I said okay, now. Yeah. I have something I want to talk because I never like you know this, even Sir Bilal knows this. Someone asked me like, are you good at anything? I'd probably say I'm good at nothing. But it's just very difficult. But now I feel like this is something I want to talk about because I believe in the cause. So it's easier to do that.
Yeah. No, and I think regardless of you being ready or not, I feel like you've always had that knowledge of the space you are in. I know Shaun as I met Shaun for the first time when he was working at Saatchi & Saatchi, yes, through Bilal Munir, and he was a motion designer.
Yeah, motion graphics
designer.
Motion designer sounds a little interesting.
Designing all that motion, and because of the way I want to take this conversation, I've even got out my learning book. Right.
Asad's learning.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Yes. I never really do this. I end up going back into the episodes and making notes. But today I'm actually thinking, I really need to make those notes. But Shaun, we are digressing.
Okay.
Introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you doing? Where are you from?
Where am I from? My background. So I started my journey not knowing what I wanted to do. I was absolutely garbage at studies. Mm-hmm. My O levels were not great. I think I have 1A. And I'm proud and not proud of that at the same time. Yeah. But struggled to get into A levels, and then Sir Bilal helped me. My teachers, Sir Bilal, Sir Rock, and Nixer gave me a place to start doing A levels. And even at A levels, I still hadn't found my focus. Mm-hmm. But I used to love video games, and I used this at home. I would spend time looking at. Not really the game, but I was always fascinated with videos.
Right.
So gameplay videos. And this is like way back. This is like probably A1 or probably even before that, O1, O levels. So still in CS. And I was very fascinated with how these videos are made. So I would just record myself playing Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And then the next question that came up was, how do I edit this? Mm-hmm. So I went and I looked on the internet, and then I found this thing called Sony Vegas.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a Premiere. It was Sony Vegas, this
OG.
This clunky piece of editing software, which is still used now. At least I think so. And then I said, okay, this is how I edit. And I would go on, try to find some sort of knowledge, how to edit. Then I found Premiere. Then I found Photoshop. And then I found the whole Adobe suite. And then that led me to kind of my university, because after scraping through A levels again, I decided I wanted to do visual effects.
Right.
So like all the green screen, the fire, the simulation, and I then went to Australia. I didn't think I would get in, frankly, anywhere, because my grades weren't stellar. But Monash University, they had a very interesting admission process. They said, okay, fine, but write us 2 stories and make 1 triptych, like 3 photos, and tell a story with 3 photos. So we just wanted, I guess they were trying to get a sense of my storytelling.
Yeah.
Wo hua, I got in. And then I got to study. Even then, it was a very interesting process. But I got to learn a lot. I got to learn the most, I would say, at Monash. Why? Because the teachers are very interesting there. They were teaching you foundations, but not necessarily software.
Right.
So we were learning
Like
typography.
master the core principles and then take it away.
Really, really. We had a course just on typography where we weren't even learning like fonts and stuff. We were drawing type on a piece of paper and photocopying it,
Acha.
and learning how to scan and then seeing how fonts actually take shape. What's a serif font? What's a sans serif font? Monospace and stuff like that. So a lot of interesting foundations there. But I then really wanted to get into visual effects. But the school wasn't teaching it because it wasn't a visual effects school. It was an art school. But then I started self-learning Cinema 4D, and then I just couldn't capitalize on it because wherever I would go, they'd say, "Look, we need to sponsor you. You don't come from a country with a working holiday visa."
Yeah.
Came back to Pakistan. That's when we met. I then moved a little bit from visual effects into post-production.
Right.
So I was doing color grading, I was doing that stuff, and I liked this more because it was less about it was more hands-on. It was something I was comfortable doing. I didn't feel sleepy doing it. It was like almost work is play, play is work. And then I wanted to kind of find like I had done enough color grade, enough visual effects at that time, and I wanted to find something to challenge me. Then I went to China. I was going to try and teach at a school that I was studying there at XJTLU. This is University of Liverpool in partnership with the university in China. Wanted to do something there, and there I got my next kind of challenge. It was so I did get to live what I would say was one of my dreams. I did get an internship at a place called Bang Bang, and they do visual effects.
Right.
So I got to work with John Dietz, who was the VFX supervisor for The Watchmen. My boss, Tim Crosby, had supervised The Matrix. So I didn't get to work on those movies, the best. But I was with some amazing teachers.
Yeah.
बहुत डांटा उन्होंने. They're like, dude, you are so distracted. You have no focus. You just want to do this for the laurels and for the Instagram, and you want to just say that, but you don't know anything. So then John gave me he's like, you don't have focus. You are clearly in this field just because you enjoy telling people that you're in this field.
Yeah.
And that was crushing for me because I didn't do that, but it was coming across that way. So John's like, you need to be more organized. Yeah. I want you to learn, if you want to stay here, learn Python. And I had no coding experience. So I had to learn Python in like a very short space of time. Yeah. But that taught me, that was a great lesson because I learned that it's not about learning everything, but I like just going through, finding a challenge you like.
Yeah.
And then trying to take on that challenge.
Yeah.
It's almost like playing a game that you like. All games are challenges, but then that led me to a lab in China, like an AR VR lab.
Yeah.
And that's where I encountered Unity, a game engine, and then finally Unreal. And now I'm back in Karachi and I'm hoping to teach everyone else Unreal because Unreal Engine was, it was the last big problem I solved.
Right.
We were developing a tool for an AR headset called the Magic Leap.
Yeah.
And Unity was struggling. At that time, I was looking for a game engine to learn, and I was learning Unity. And Unity was struggling with a certain type of technical thing, and then I had to teach myself Unreal. So, and after doing that, I came back to Pakistan. There was very little Unreal scope here except for Quixel. Yeah, which we can talk about later. But Quixel is a massive asset company that works with Unreal.
So let's I'm going to cut you off there.
But I was ending this before, and that's what led me to where I am right now. So I had applied to become like an authorized instructor, and that led me to where we are today.
And that's what I was going to get into. That you are the only authorized instructor now.
I'm the one. So we had to clarify this because on Qazi's podcast, the actual first authorized instructor Faraz Qayyum commented saying that you aren't. Please clarify that, like because what happened was that we searched.
Yeah.
Because
at that time you couldn't find anyone.
I got the email from Epic saying that you cleared it.
Yeah.
And then I was searching and nothing came up. But then I found out that I believe in 2017 or 2018, Faraz Qayyum. Sorry, Faraz, if I'm pronouncing his surname wrong, but he actually did it super early and he moved on. And he's currently in Turkey at a place called Zero Density, doing amazing live real-time news real-time keying, and they have one of the most powerful. At least he's clarified to me that they're one of the most strongest solutions for real-time keying for news and broadcast. Faraz and his team are working on that. And after I thought he was from Turkey, and then we spoke, and I had a long, very, very in-depth conversation with Faraz last week. It was very nice. He's like, any training help you need, I'm here. And,
so there's no hate. It's just like, hey,
very. And I'm all about that.
Let's just shot this straight.
Yeah, and I'm all about that. Like, I don't want, because aapko bhi pata hai, the gaming community has always been about where it's Xbox versus PlayStation, Unity versus Unreal. I'm trying to bring this very communal. Yeah, we're all making games. We're all using different tools. Doesn't matter whether you drive a 4-wheel drive and I drive or you're driving a front wheel drive, I drive a rear wheel. We're all driving cars. Let's just figure out how to drive better.
Yeah.
So I went and we had an amazing conversation. And hopefully going to do some joint training with him.
Sweet.
Very soon. And he's actually told me that Pakistan is getting 3 more very soon.
Wow.
So we're getting more, and we're trying to get even more authorized instructors.
Awesome.
But yeah, so as soon as I got that, I said I want to build on this. And there's not enough avenues for graphic training. There's not enough access for those courses.
Yeah.
And that's what my startup. I went straight into it. I founded this startup. I went to my co-founder, said, "This is what we have to do." We were talking for quite a while over things that we want to do.
Yeah.
And I said, "Ye karna hai. Let's just go do it." And it's going to be a training school, which is what led me up to my quick journey, how I got here. And now I'm a visual effects guy turned trainer, turned academic, turned founder. I don't know. Founding a startup is hard.
Yeah. It's ballsy.
Yeah. Lots of learnings very quickly.
Yeah. So in a snapshot, basically, and I'm pretty confident now everyone has these terms in their heads.
Yeah.
But when I sent you the questions also, it's a bit diverse too. I'm not going to unveil everything right now, but you are a certified instructor for Unreal Engine, which is basically the engine that designed Fortnite, which is owned by Epic Games, correct?
Correct. So just to clarify that, Epic Games is a publisher, and they also own Unreal Engine, which is...
So did they make Unreal?
Yeah, they make Unreal.
They made Unreal.
Unreal was made by... I forgot his name. I think it's Tim Sweeney. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. And this is like back when Unreal Tournament was going on. Unreal Tournament was kind of the first game to use Unreal Engine.
Okay.
And it's been through a lot of development.
How far back is this?
I could be wrong on this number, but I believe it's 97. 1997.
Okay.
I mean, we can just double check that, but it's Unreal's been...
This isn't Joe Rogan's show where I could just ask someone behind.
No. I know. I'm just saying, because it's this type of data is very important to also things I talk about people about Unreal, because it's one of the things about Unreal is that it's a very old engine. Its foundations is in C++, which is kind of why was also its strength. So the fact that it's got such a big old development team behind it is kind of one of the things. So it's very old engine.
Yeah. And I see that as something which is also important to know, at least keep that awareness in your mind, is because it shows the longevity behind that. And it also shows, not you said strength, but then I also see the longevity in the foundation, how strong that is, the core of it all.
Yeah, it's very old, and it's had a lot of development behind it, the people behind it. And it's kind of a very interesting model. And this is something that I always talk about as well, because Epic Games is a publisher, which means they publish games.
Yeah.
The games are made on Unreal Engine, so it's very cyclical here.
Yeah.
Unreal Engine is the kind of sandbox, the game engine behind these games. Epic publishes the games made on Unreal Engine. So if you look at Fortnite as an example, anything that Fortnite tests or they test out on Fortnite, the Unreal developers get. So,
really?
So anything that they test, they find a need for in one of their games, and they turn that into technology. So a lot of the tech that's coming out for Unreal Engine is also kind of born from a practical use case. So it's very nice because of them being a publisher. All the games that they publish, their studios or their teams that are publishing on the Epic Games Store or Unreal Engine, whatever kind of pipelines they develop, if Epic likes them, I don't know what the pipeline is for that, it incorporates it. And so you get a very, very powerful tool set that just keeps on growing.
So it's in a way, it's like open sourced.
It is completely. One of its strengths is that it's open source. Like you can access the source code for Unreal Engine and you can build the entire engine from GitHub. So you can either download the engine from the Epic Game Store, but if you really want to get into the nitty-gritties,
You can build
you
it from
can
scratch.
download the entire source code from GitHub and assemble it in Visual Studio
Super
Code,
cool.
which lets people customize it. So, for example, recently, Unreal Engine was, it has been before, but recently there was a story about it being used inside a car in an HMI. So the graphics in the car on the screen are using Unreal Engine. That type of customizability can only come when you can access the source code.
Wow.
So you can do whatever you want with this. As long as you have a good C++ team behind you, you can customize the engine for whatever it needs to do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the question that's actually coming to mind is that what is the scene like in Pakistan? And I'm not really. So I know everyone knows this also. Okay, Mountain Dew has done like big events to get gamers on. So now that's the consumer side of it.
Right.
What Ahad interacts with or what you interact with, what you guys are really spending your time as a consumer. There's events happening. We know that Ash Kaleem, I think, no, Ash something. Arslan Ash. Ash Kaleem is someone else. But Arslan Ash won the Tekken tournament and Red Bull hyped him up. Super cool story. Mountain Dew had a big event somewhere in Punjab. There's always something or the other happening that's getting the gaming community in Pakistan that limelight that they need as well. I understand that. But when I heard about Quixel, it was, I think, during the lockdown days or to 2020, I would say. I saw Fasi Mehta on this podcast by Muzammil Hassan in Islamabad. And he is the business development head for Quixel.
Right.
When I heard that they have the largest asset base for Unreal or Epic Games, and Epic Games acquired them, right? And they were based out of Pakistan?
Yeah, Islam. Well, so they've got offices all over, but Vakar Azam, Islamabad. So half of, I believe that so it's there was two partners that started this. This Vakar, and then he had a partner from Sweden. But yes, Vakar is from Islamabad, and that's why. So it was founded. It was born. Half of it was born in Islamabad.
Sweet. And that's where my question is going to. Like, what is this space like? What's this scene like when it comes to the development of games or anything to do with like Unreal or Unity and stuff?
So development is Unreal's got two types of development going on. One is non-game development.
Okay.
And one is game development. But if you go into that into more detail, Unreal is being used aside from games. You have simulation, you have architecture. So these are not game use cases. So they're all using something that Unreal, or generally we talk about, which is real-time 3D, which is you don't have to render something.
Right.
So it can be real-time 3D, can be used in architecture, can be used in simulation, can be used anywhere. But games is kind of the first places where it was being used, real-time 3D. So in that sense, Pakistan there's a lot of openings. When me and Ehsan were starting our company, Reality Forge, one of the first things we did was we went to Islamabad and Lahore. So we spoke with.
That's where the scene's at, right?
Yeah, we actually just went and spoke to teams and companies and went and just met them. And we met Render Lounge in Lahore. Render Lounge is doing sort of industrial architectural renderings, interior spaces, and they're using Unreal Engine. They are a mega grant recipient. Then you have Third World Studios. They're working on an animated product. And I think they have gotten more. They are a recipient of several mega grants. Brilliant team at both places. Very supportive. The second we went there, open arms. They both teams welcomed us with open arms, and they were just showing us their pipeline. And because we came in telling them that we want to train more people on Unreal, because there's so much. Because when you learn Unreal, you can go, depending on what you're interested in, it's all using the same engine, right?
It's about
where you want to go into automotive visualization. Okay, no problem. You want to go into game dev, no problem. As long as you know Unreal Engine. So it's one tool that does many things, which is in my opinion one of its greatest strengths. Because just adding it to your resume and then self-practicing it, you can go wherever you want.
Yeah.
So then we came down to Islamabad. We met even people outside of the Unreal space. We met people from Vakra Studios, Frag Games. We met, and then we kind of iced off that tour by meeting Vakar and Fasi at Quixel. which was the most exciting thing me and SN have done, just because we were just so excited to go meet them. Because I've been talking to Vakar since I came back from China,
Right.
because I knew of Quixel, and I did not know that they were in Islamabad back in China. I was using their library. So what Quixel does is, just before I digress into that,
Yeah.
Quixel does photogrammetry.
Right.
Now, what that is usually the way you'd model an object. For example, if you're talking way back like Toy Story, you would have to use a modeling tool, and then you'd manipulate vertexes, edges, and faces
Right.
to create the object in 3D. So think of like the dino, what's his name, Rex, the green dino. Somebody would have had to go model him, like one at a time, and that takes time. That an artist has to go and literally digitally sculpt that thing and model it. But what photogrammetry does is, it kind of speeds up the pipeline. So first a modeler will create the model, then a texture artist will paint him green, and a good texture artist will make it more real. So there'll be like scratches or like edges painted like a toy. No toy is perfect. Even the toys, if you look at Andy, what's his name?
Woody had his
Woody
foot.
had Andy, like that type. Those imperfections are what makes a good texture artist, right? So that takes time to do. But what photogrammetry does is, you image the object in its current state from all sides, and then a computer converts that into a 3D mesh. It's not perfect. It needs to be cleaned up. And what Quixel did was, Quixel has a completely a pipeline, a proprietary pipeline, and they go out and they scan everything from rocks. They scan imperfections, they scan decals, they scan big objects, small objects, they scan fire hydrants, and all of these, they optimize it. They bring it to a point where it's not only just the object, you have levels of detail. Right. So you have a low poly version for mobile games, you have a high poly version for something like a gaming PC. So they bring it to a point where it's completely ready for you to drag and drop into Unreal Engine, and then you can place it anywhere and it looks great.
So essentially,
it's optimized.
Someone like Backspace, if they want to make like their own video on Unreal, they could just go into Quixel's library and take all that.
Yeah, they can just go, and because of the integration now, the Megascans library is inside of Unreal. So you can just go Megascans, log in, and then you can say, I want a bench. So a table like this. Yeah. Rather than going and modeling and getting the word extra, and because it's photo scanned, it just looks way more photoreal because it's photo scanned. Right. You have to just go and like add some like nooks and sort of imperfections on the side. It's ready to go. And if you're, the other great thing about it is, which is what I spoke about, because if it's performance heavy, you can drop it comes ready, it comes optimized for any platform. Yeah. So that's what Quixel does. And anyway, we had a great time there. Told them all our plans, and it was very nice getting to be at Quixel after using their products for so long. Yeah. Meeting them.
You see them in the flesh.
Yeah. And we've maintained that relationship. Yeah. Right up to a couple of days ago, we had a meeting with Fussy, telling him that our product is ready, we're launching it. And they are close friends of ours, and they've always been very supportive of things that we're doing and giving us advice with what's the next step. And so Quixel's definitely a big part of our Reality Forge journey.
But the way I see it is that they are all the names you took, Quixel, Render Lounge, so on, they seem to be a few that everyone knows about. But as a whole in the country, do you feel like we are in a position to grow this space, or to start creating like world-class work, or do we need more resources? Like how are we doing in this sector overall in terms of capital allocation?
The gaming sector is growing quite fast. Esports is probably taking off as we speak. So the gaming sector is pretty big. The studios I mentioned, there's so many studios. There's Narsun, there's Frag Games, Vakra, there's there's Game Storms, Mindstorms, all of these studios, and they're doing great work, really, really good work. They're putting out games. Epiphany has been doing game jams. There's interest. There's a lot of interest in game development. It's now no longer just playing games. It's a viable career now. And it's turning around a lot of money.
It's just that like it's not in the mainstream.
I think it's getting there.
It's getting there.
It's getting
Yeah,
there
yeah, yeah.
because people like Ursula and Ash, like you mentioned, have shown that it's a viable career option and there's money behind games. You
Yeah.
see, parents, I don't think initially parents would be like, they wouldn't see gaming as a career or game development as a career. Or like, my son makes video games. They wouldn't see that. But now when they're seeing the money behind it, they see the type of investment that's going into it. I mean, we just heard about Activision and Blizzard getting acquired.
Yeah.
Those type of numbers are insane.
Yeah.
The numbers behind all of that.
Yeah.
So we are in the space. What do I think we're missing? I think we're missing something that you'll hear about on all talks like ours or forums. We're missing the human resource.
Right.
There's no proper avenue. I mean, now it's coming up with places like us and places like Game Train. There are avenues for better training, but we lack access to proper training, and then we lack access to places to deploy that training. अब इसका basically matlab kya hai is that, for example, someone like myself or someone like Ahad, we could be the most confident at Unreal.
Yeah.
But how often will be when you go for a job interview to Ubisoft or any big studio, unki requirement aa jayega, you should need to have shipped two titles, or you need to have done 5 years of game development. Where will you get that experience? There's no avenues for that. There's no avenues for place to get a good show reel to show that I've worked on these things. Those use cases nahi hai. But those are coming up now.
Okay.
So I think very soon we're going to start seeing not single A development. We'll see people trying double A development. With Reality Forge,
What does that mean?
So, like the scale of the game.
Okay,
a AAA game is something that you would see, for example, The Last of Us, God of War. These are AAA titles.
Got it.
Double A's are like indie games that are doing really well. Single A's are like hyper casuals. And these are very fluid terms. But I think we're there. So there's enough traction in the market. Now with places that are giving training like us, we're hoping to reach a critical mass of Unreal developers. And then it's going to begin, because when everyone uses Unreal, then you'll start seeing indie studios coming up.
Yeah.
And then people are going to, because right now, I think the biggest thing that we have is our exposure is also limited.
Yeah.
Not everyone has access to PS5. Not everyone can even aajkal access a good GPU. Itne mehenge ho gaye.
Yeah.
Access is a problem, which is what places like YouTube people are now having a meal and watching a gameplay video of the game rather than playing the game. So they're getting exposure to these titles. I think that is going to we're going to be in this prime area where people are going to be aware of the entire scope of games. It's not just PUBG, it's not just Fortnite. There's also story games out there like Last of Us, like God of War. They're going to get this entire spectrum, and there's going to be something for everyone that's going to. And then what are you missing? You're missing the know-how how to do it.
Yeah.
You know what you want to do, you don't know how to do it. The entry point to Unreal is what the startups and what YouTube tutorials and Unreal's learning portal will make happen. Then I just want to see.
That's where you guys come in.
And that's where I also want to see.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Ubisoft has opened up studios in India.
Yeah.
I don't see what is stopping a company like that coming to Pakistan.
Yeah.
We have people. Yeah, we have like I've seen some of the 3D artists. They're so dedicated.
Yeah.
I think only training and only critical mass or having places with access to a full development team is missing confidence. Once these guys have confidence that, there's a team of 25 guys here. They know their pipeline. We've seen their work. Let's go open a smaller offshoot there. I don't see anything stopping it from happening.
So let's dive into a little bit about your role in all of this and all of this development, right? What is Reality Forge? This is the first time actually taking the name outright.
Okay.
Reality Forge.
Reality Forge is a training is a startup aiming to train people, students, professionals, anyone that's interested in learning about Unreal Engine and what to do with it and how to turn this skill set into something that eventually earns money, and not just money, but also pushes the entire industry forward. So we give you that training. We get you comfortable with Unreal, and then we tell you what to do with Unreal, depending on your skill set. We offer mentorship on Unreal Engine. That's what Reality Forge is. It's a startup. It's me and my friend Essen's child, so to speak. And we're just growing
Essen
it.
himself or Essen's child?
Oh no, it's Essen and my child. We co-owned it. Okay. So we're both co-founders, and it's our startup aiming to make graphics, 3D graphics, 3D real-time graphics training more accessible.
Awesome.
To anyone that wants it.
Awesome.
Not just,
and what do you need to enter this?
For now, we don't have a lab. We're making a lab. We're getting ready for the time where you go asking for,
Cha-ching.
cha-ching to make the lab happen. But if you have access to a gaming machine,
GoFundMe link.
Patreon. If you have access to a gaming laptop or a gaming machine, just come say hi, and then we'll train you in 3 months or 12
What
weeks.
is the for a kid, like even if I wanted to get into it,
Yeah.
मैं तो MacBook Air से आगे नहीं जा सकता ना अभी. So what do I need to start?
Well, when we have our lab up and running, you will be able to come in and learn it at our lab.
Regardless of the hardware.
Regardless, because that'll be our hardware.
Okay.
But till we don't have that, I mean, you just need a system that has some sort of graphics processing in it. That, and if you want a good example, something that can run Fortnite comfortably should be able to run Unreal comfortably. So as long as you have a way for us to teach you, till we make our labs, then that's about all we need.
And skill-wise, what do you need?
Nothing. No, just an interest in this, an interest and a little bit of motivation. It's going to be difficult. If you do a simple search, you will see that people do consider Unreal a little bit more challenging than Unity to pick up. So it will require a little bit of dedication, which is what we're there to help you. We're there to, when you're doing push-ups at the gym and you're just like, I can't do it. We're there to be like, no.
You got to first start off from the wall and go to the bench.
So we're hoping to get you to Sherpa. We're the Sherpas. So
nice.
Get you over that.
I like that.
Yeah. So we're just we're Sherpaing people through challenges.
Sweet.
Awesome. So yeah.
Cool. You mentioned that, before we started recording, you had a essay and you had a bit of a tussle on getting the website up, but the product's not ready. But what is the product? The product is the training itself?
The product is the curriculum.
Is the
curriculum that isn't set in stone. It is completely fluid and it is driven by the student.
I like that.
So because I
would trust you to say that in all honesty.
Because
unlike everyone else, student-centric learning.
Because I'm a garbage student. I am my worst enemy. Yeah. My currently I teach 3D, and this is the thing. When I'm in class also, there's this voice in my head going like, Shaun, bahut ho gaya, boring ho gaya.
Chup ho ja.
Kuch karo. And I am my own worst enemy because I was the worst student.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make a course.
Yeah.
That gets people results quickly.
Yeah.
And I've driven this all from my own challenges. When I was learning Python, for example, nothing motivated me more to run a code and get some log, some output from my code. Even if it was like hey, I'm running. I would have debug logs at every step of the way just to feel good about कि हाँ यहाँ तक चल रहा है.
Yeah.
मैंने कुछ किया है. So that feedback loop is and it's driven by the students. If they're struggling with a concept, we'll take 2 weeks to run it. It's not set in stone. But ultimately, I want my students, people that are coming to learn, to when they leave, they have such confidence with Unreal that even if they don't know how to do something, they'll know where to find the answer to get them there.
Yeah.
So it's driven by whatever everyone's learning level is, and it's I'm trying to foster like a community where people will help each other. But yeah, student-driven learning, as you say.
Sweet, awesome. And now I'm actually going to take a bit of a segue into the work that you are getting into and the work that's happening right now about game development. How does that come into this new fancy word of the metaverse and Web3?
Ooh.
It's freaky, right?
No, it's interesting. It's very interesting.
And I'm trying to learn more about this. I just haven't had the time.
Okay.
But I'm just very keen to understand that it's like this all started off in 2008, this whole rush towards the blockchain and the crypto, and then that leading to more applications of the blockchain, leading to NFTs, and then sorting out supply chain issues and democratization of information and stuff. And now it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like game development was always there in this application of all of this technology, and now is just sitting very comfortably on to merge all of this together.
So if for the people that are viewing this, if you just consider it this way, like the easiest way I've read up about it is Web 1.0 was kind of like static websites. There was no interaction. Right?
And I'm actually going to change that a bit.
Okay.
Because the way I know what you're going to get at.
Okay.
I get what you're going to get at.
Okay.
The way I just see this is that like Web 1.0 was when we as human beings started learning that we could have access to information.
So basically like 1.0 was read only. you could read websites.
Yeah.
Right. So Netscape would just go to
Yeah.
a page. This is Ahad's. This is Backspace. Contact us. Home. What we do.
Yeah.
Web 2.0 was you could change the page depending on what you put up there. So Facebook, Twitch, YouTube.
Social networking.
So you're putting up something that is changing. You can read and write. So using file IO terminology. What Web 3.0 is, it's trying to tackle, or it's trying to bring something to light, which is decentralization. So the issue is that, for example, you put all your content up on YouTube, right? And if YouTube goes down,
your content is still alive.
Content is gone.
But with Web 3, it's there.
With Web 3, it's alive everywhere.
Yeah.
So rather than it being in one place, everyone's got kind of pointers to the content. So one node goes down, the other nodes are still up. Now with gaming, ka kya hai isme? Gaming was always kind of in a... So we enter the NFT point.
Yeah.
So if someone takes a snapshot like of this, or a recording of me saying it, abhi music pe bhi ho raha hai, any content, they own, because of the blockchain, they have ownership of that content.
Right.
If the blockchain, they can kind of, using that unique ID,
Yeah.
they can say, this is mine, I own this NFT.
Yeah.
Gaming kind of always was in kind of a space like this. So if you go back to the Steam marketplace, CSGO had skins and you could sell those skins. Dota 2 did this as well.
Yeah.
You could sell the skins, you could sell the items, and there was an active, you could hold it, it could go up in price. If you had a very rare item, you could sell it. So this was already kind of going on in the gaming space. And it's kind of similar to what NFTs are doing now. So they're both kind of doing something similar. With me personally, I am very interested to see how gaming is going to adopt it, because gaming was already doing it. You see, for me, talking about someone that's been playing games for a very long time, Steam marketplace pe to already skins bik rahe the, CSGO, Dota. So I want to see, where does all this kind of merge? Because what NFTs are saying is that, okay, this particular skin lives in everyone's computers and it's decentralized. Usme they were saying, hey, the skins, the fact that you have the skin is in a Steam database. So on some levels, it feels like the NFT version is more inefficient, because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Versus the Steam marketplace, which was centralized. So I get the decentralized argument, but gaming was always sitting comfortable, because gamers love to own, or if they've really worked hard for a quest to get a rare item.
Yeah.
It has a lot of value. I want to see. I am very interested to see how gaming and NFTs gets into it. But you can look at really early examples that have been very interesting. For example, Star Citizen.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of this title. Star Citizen is it's very controversial.
Okay.
So I'm glad this has come up here. So Star Citizen is this.
We're all about that life on this show.
Yeah, is a space MMO.
Okay. What is an MMO?
Like a massively multiplayer online game.
Of course it is.
But it's been in alpha and beta for quite a while.
I've heard you mentioned this. Yeah. Okay.
And the model is very interesting. And this is before NFTs and 3.0.
Yeah.
Star Citizen, the base game was, you had to buy a ship to enter the game.
Right. Yes.
The ship was like $40.
Yeah.
Uske saath aapko ek kamra milta tha on Port Olisar, which was the big hangar, the cruiser, and you would get your ship. Yeah, some of those ships go for about $750.
Yeah.
They go upwards. Those ships aren't even out yet. You can't buy the ship. You can't fly the ship, but you're buying something that isn't even ready.
Yeah.
And what they do is they've been getting a lot of hate, because they just keep releasing new ships, and they're just getting a lot of money. And the numbers are crazy on Star Citizen. So stuff like this, my point is, coming back to our conversation, ownership of gaming content has always kind of been there.
Yeah.
You saw untransferable versions of it, like achievements. People love to compare.
Yeah.
Oh, I've platinumed this game. You know, I've got all the Steam achievements for Valheim or something like that. So it is a competitive space, and there is supply and demand going on here. But I'm very interested to see where it comes with gaming and NFTs. I don't know where it's going to find a kind of common ground. Personally speaking, for me, I personally feel that the model where your content was in like a Steam marketplace kind of an arrangement made a little bit more sense to me. Gaming NFTs, I know it's taking off now and people are earning through it.
Yeah.
But personally speaking, because it's my personal opinion, I just like the Steam marketplace kind of model where everything was kind of in one place. If I had a skin, I could just easily go and give it to you using Steam. But with NFTs, it's a wider, exchanges, this, that, and the other.
But isn't this also dictated by like on which blockchain it is? Because
Why
then
not?
that
They're kind of advantage in this. One is completely decentralized.
Yeah.
One is technically centralized. If Steam goes down, my skin's gone.
right.
So I'm trying to go for something that's easier but centralized.
Huh.
But it is a battle. It is what people are talking about. Web 3.0 is talking about this, right? Like, when you buy a domain, the domain lives on those servers. The servers go down. What is that domain to you? It's nothing. So people are talking about decentralization, and that is what 3.0 is. It's an experience layer as well above 2.0. But I don't know where gaming is going to find her. Because for gamers, I mean, I would love to talk to more gamers about this. For me speaking, personally, I would just want it to be easier. कि अगर मेरे पास एक skin है for a knife or an M4, I just want to easily give it to you, right? If you've given me the money for it, I just want to quickly give it to you. I think for gamers, ease of access and quick transactions might be more important, but I could be horribly wrong here.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see where the NFT...
But isn't the counter to that, like, again, I'm taking it from a very layman perspective because I have absolutely no knowledge. But if it's about like you have a knife that I want to buy off you, if this was in a decentralized space, I could still buy it off you for X number of crypto, right?
Yeah, I mean, the money you pay for it that's just the currency. I'm just talking about how it gets to you, right? Right. So if it's just going through one centralized marketplace, it becomes easier. But that is also the problem.
I feel so ignorant and dumb in this whole conversation. I love it.
No.
I'm
just
happy.
Think of it as like the easy way is like if the knife example.
Yeah.
It's one is ease of access and one is decentralization. So, but that's where I want to see where it lines up, because I just think that for gamers, everything about them is the speed, the access and the speed. I think if I wanted to give my friends, maybe I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm not playing this game anymore. Take this skin. It helps you like get some flair in the game.
Yeah.
I want to be able to give it to them ease without losing fees along the way.
Yeah.
These are issues I want to see how they get solved. I'm not saying they're going to be deal breakers. And I'm not saying one system is better than the other. I see the need to be decentralized because, like I said, if the central servers go down, what is that knife to you? It's nothing. But in the other case, because that knife skin is alive on everyone's nodes, I'm still safe. So I want to see where it ends up, because right now gaming and NFTs is a hot topic. And in fact, in the Pakistani space, this company called Narsun, Narsun, they just put out a project as well. I believe it's a racing. It's a track. It's kind of a driving racing product. But it is something that is.
They're making games for Web3, or
it does have a Web 3.0 element to it. Please do check it out. I was just reading it, not reading about it. I was checking it out the other way. Very interesting and very nice looking as well. Believe I could be wrong. I believe it was done on Unreal Engine, but yeah.
What's the work that's happening right now in when it comes to the metaverse? Because we had a long chat about this also with Bilal and Nagin. I think Alina was there as well. You were there, right? Look at us breaking the fourth wall, right?
We're talking to people
Off the camera.
off camera.
But this conversation calls for that.
Yeah.
What is the scene like over here right now? Because I know that everyone's trying to rush to it, and then कोई कह रहा है अभी ये शादी पे लोग बात करते कि तुम्हें पता है Decentraland पे plot कितने का बिका है?
Yeah.
$3 अरब.
It's a hot topic.
Yeah, and I'm like, do you know how to spell Decentraland before you start commenting on the plot price? And then I saw another one. I saw this website where you could buy. I was telling Nagin and Alina about this as well. Ramesh Safa was sponsored by them. You've seen Ramesh Safa on YouTube? Big advocate of the NFT space. And he's like, you could buy a grid it's like a Google Map type layout, and you could buy Dolmen Mall or Arkhan Park or like anything in the metaverse from now and buy that real estate.
Very cool.
What is the scene like right now in Pakistan? Who's working on it? What's the development like? Where are we at?
I know from the gaming perspective, was the project I mentioned to you.
Yeah.
I believe there are some workshops happening about gaming NFTs, but and Web 3.0 and gaming. It is because it's any sort of gaming discussion now, everyone is always talking about how can you earn from it, right? How do you get money back from gaming? What is the return on investment? You have microtransactions.
But see, when you say this now, I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. Are you saying this from? Are people actually saying this to you?
No. So people are that there's two types of people when you think about a game product.
Yeah.
The developer side is always going to be trying to fund the development of the game.
Yeah.
So how do the developers earn, and how do the consumers or the people that are playing the game keep buying into the ecosystem?
Right.
These two have to happen in parallel. Because this is also, I've totally forgot to mention, my master's thesis was in microtransactions. So I studied this in a great deal in China. How do the Chinese do microtransactions in video games? How do you design systems that people keep wanting to buy into it? So from the consumer side, you want your gamers to constantly be buying in. They have to be a part of the system, right? You don't want them to have a one-time purchase. Makes no sense. But from the developer side, they should be able to fund the development of the game and the expansion and the scaling of the game. So I think right now we're still figuring out where things kind of fit in land and space, and this we'll only know once we experiment. Because even now, like the metaverse, what is the metaverse? For me, the metaverse is an experience layer on Web 2.0.
Right.
You're going, rather than going to Adidas ka app store, you're wearing some VR goggles, or you're going to a VR Adidas store. It's an experience layer above Web 2.0. So 2.0 mein kya hota? We would have gone to a gaming store and bought a single product. But 3.0 mein kya hoga? It's like you wear VR goggles and you're inside this VR gaming store. So it's an experience layer, in my opinion. That's how I explain it to people. It's an experience layer above Web 2.0.
Okay.
How does this translate into gaming and what's going on here? People are pushing it. People are learning about it. And we have game development already going on in Pakistan. So I want to see, I'm sure there are Web 3.0 projects happening. At Reality Forge, we get asked a lot about it as well. In fact, we had a discussion about Web 3.0 education. It is something that people are interested in, but they still are wondering, how do you get into it? I think Pakistan, one of the biggest things that I see being a challenge, a good challenge, not a bad challenge, is the entry point. VR hardware is still expensive here.
Yeah.
I think once VR hardware becomes cheaper and GPUs or machines become more accessible, that's something that is going to make the entry point into these virtual realms easier. NVIDIA is also doing a lot of stuff about this. They have the Omniverse, which they just made free. So it's interesting. It's an experience layer letting you experience interactivity, spatial interactivity. But I think yahan Pakistan mein, one of the first things we'll have to solve is the entry point. That hardware needs to become cheaper. If your Oculus Rift and your HTC Vive is expensive, then who wants a bad experience, right?
Yeah.
Like if it's just a Google Cardboard where they can look around and not interact with it, you want to be able to grab things like in Ready Player One.
Yeah.
So if that type of world, I think we're moving towards. But definitely one of the earliest challenges will be the content development and hardware access. These two things need to happen first.
Do you know about any kind of work that's happening in the hardware space for this over here?
Not over here, no. But I do know, like, the device kind of bandwidth is, like, the amount of options for devices are also very limited, right? You've got the Oculus, you've got HTC Vive, and you've got now actually one AR headset is making a comeback. You had your Magic Leap 1, and now the Magic Leap 2 is coming out.
And what about the one with Microsoft?
HoloLens?
Yeah. Again,
that's an AR headset. So very good. Yeah. Very good. AR and VR, they're of course two different types of experiences. But once those headsets start becoming cheaper and start growing in power is where it's at.
So it's like we first have to have, I'm trying to see this in two ways. And I'm also saying this because in Pakistan, you've just recently had this whole greenfield status coming in for the car manufacturers, and then Lucky bringing in the Samsung plant. I'm just trying to see that, is anyone thinking about the production of hardware like this locally? If it's possible, I don't know. And secondly, that if that's not going to happen, then we have to kind of accelerate, or these industries have to accelerate the commercialization and economies of scale for the production of these things. That's the only way the cost is going to go down as well.
Yeah, I think definitely that, and that is something I have told to many people.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys have the product development expertise, look into making a more affordable VR headset.
Because the way I see this also is that with all of this stuff happening, there's always talk of the technology behind it and the developers behind it as well, but there's not much talk behind the hardware running these things.
And yeah,
And the hardware comes in for those boys and gals that are mining or that are
yeah,
running the blockchain
exactly,
itself, and then wo to ek alag scene hai, right? Like, and it gets hyped up in a very different light, I
yeah,
feel.
even hardware is like I'm, and this is something me and my co-founder have had a lot of discussions about. Until and unless a lot of people can afford an HTC Vive or an Oculus, and it's also, by the way, it's twofold. So like, the expense is one thing,
Yeah.
and then the device itself is another thing. The Vive, for example, is something that requires 2 tripoded trackers on the corners of your room, and then you need space to like walk around. You don't want to go punching your TV and stuff like that. So spatial requirement hai. But you can sit down and play with the Oculus also. You don't have to be standing around dancing. But those devices are expensive. And when those become a little bit more accessible, like phones, and that has to happen over time. Hardware becomes more powerful and cheaper. You know, like 10 years ago, for the price now that you can get a decent smartphone, a big smartphone with a good battery and a good camera was not thinkable. But aajkal, you know, anywhere, even the entry point, 10 to 30K, you can get a range of options, cameras, good cameras. So I do see the devices getting cheaper. And now people are just kind of buying into these things early.
Right.
Because then when the devices become cheaper and there's everyone in the virtual Karachi, you have the land because you were an early adopter. So early adoption is key, I think, for people that are looking to cha-ching in the metaverse. But early adoption is key, but knowing what to buy is not easy. You have to research quite a bit.
Yeah. Because you say early adopters.
Yeah.
I feel like this is already a laggard kind of conversation. Just based on how much information has come up and how much hoo-ha about this whole space has become. And I don't say hoo-ha in a negative connotation. I actually mean it that...
Hype.
There's a huge hype, right? What are we seeing, or how are we coming to that point where then we can... Let me rephrase the question. Are we still in the early adoption phase, according to you? Or do you feel like... and I don't mean locally, I mean globally. Is there still a long way to go, or is it too late to catch the wave, or we're kind of late to this thing?
I don't think it's ever too late to catch the wave, especially with NFT and gaming, with blockchain and gaming.
Yeah,
I think I'm like I said, I'm interested to see where it goes. I don't think it's too late to get onto this because it's a great way to push it out there.
Yeah,
whether it's the right solution for gaming or whether that is something that gaming is going to use, that remains to be seen. But I don't think it's late at all. To get into this. I do feel people that talk about mining and stuff like that, it is a little late for that because mining hardware is extremely expensive and it's just not profitable. And the prices of GPUs are going up, and people that could use these GPUs for education or just gaming, they have no access to it because these GPUs have all been purchased by the miners, which is not a wrong thing. I'm not saying miners are bad. I'm just saying that the time to mine was way back when the difficulty was lower, when the profitability was higher.
And there's not much regulation also in mining.
No, mining itself is going to go off because mining is not great for the environment. So a lot of these coins which allow mining are called proof of work, POW coins. So a lot of these coins are switching to POS, which is proof of stake. Stake, which basically, so what is mining, right? Just to digress very quickly. The more people that mine Asad coin, the faster my money can, or my NFT can reach you. The more people that will use it, that will drive up the value.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that means that the more people that are mining, the more the better the network and the more the value. So what do you do to pay off Ahad and myself from mining your coin? You give us a little bit of a fee, like for the difficulty. Problem is that if Ahad and me were to put off our machines, the price would just go down. Then comes proof of stake. Rather than mining, we give our coins to you. You hold them for us as a kind of a surety of the value. Right. That you won't just go and sell all of them. It stays that value. And then over time, these coins that are staked, you get a little bit back as a reward for keeping them with the holders. So Ethereum is doing this very soon. Solana has this already. A lot of these coins are moving towards proof of stake. So mining itself is, people are kind of going away from mining. But going back to what we earlier said about timing, I do think it's a little late unless you can get a very big mine up and running. But then again, the difficulty is never been lower, never been higher. Said that upside down. Never been higher. So I would just say maybe for something like mining and all, it's as a hobby. I would encourage anyone that wants to experiment with any sort of hobby. I mean, do it. But I personally speaking, I think it's a little late for people looking to get into mining. ये भी एक सवाल I get asked. So what do you think about mining? And I'm like, yeah, I don't do it.
Vakar Zaka ki video dekhe, you'll get an NOC, figure out how to do that.
No, I just don't. I'm just not in the space because I learned my lesson the hard way. I tried it and I this was like what, 2017, 2016? 2016. I tried it and it was an absolute disaster for me. So I've never gone back. Never gone back just because it didn't work for me. And I preferred like studying. And now the gaming NFT space also, like, this is also partially why I'm not excited about gaming NFTs. I'm very much like, let's see where it goes. Yeah. Just because, like at any point in time, I'm always worried about the fact that at any point in time, recently the crypto market went down. Yeah. You won't see that with like the CSGO skin prices. Yeah. So I'm always a little pessimistic about it. Just so I'm like, Yeah. I see the future value. But I'm still waiting for it to get more regulated. Right. I think uske baad we'll see stability. It's very volatile right now.
That's very interesting what you just said. I'm waiting to see it get more regulated.
I want to see it get more regulated.
Okay.
Because right now it's all over the place.
Right.
Like the second people put up videos that, it's going to boom, half. The second they think it's going to crash, it's boom. Like, where are you? It's too volatile and and some of these projects are just controlled by people with the most coin that had it.
Right.
So I don't know. I prefer something with a little bit more stability right now. Yeah. So that's why I think right now, as far as gaming goes, I'm very interested to see where it ends up.
But so throughout all of this, I think it's very important to highlight also that it's just very crucial to first learn about the whole space and absorb all of this information. Just don't go and act on it as well. Gary Vee keeps talking about the gold rush behind this.
It is, and I think if you go on, everyone, look, we can't. As much as people want to criticize it, I can understand why people want to get rich quickly.
Yeah.
Totally fine. All I'm telling my friends, my people close to me, is before you make a move, before you run into it because everyone around you is talking about it, just read up on it. It's difficult. YouTube is great for this. There are people breaking down these concepts in 7-minute videos, 15-minute videos.
But that's the thing. It's important. It's not supposed to be easy either to digest all of this. There's been years worth of work going into it. And if you really want to make something out of it, then the more you know, the better.
And also, when you read up more, you develop a better system.
Yeah.
So if you know what gamers want, you'll make a better game.
Yeah.
But making a better game is very difficult. So nothing like this will ever come quick.
Right.
So it's going to be a bit of a climb, is what I would say. But just study, like read up on it as much as you can.
Right. So you ended up answering the second last question, but I'll ask it just out of formality's sake. What advice do you have for people who want to get into this space, other than reading up more on it?
Yeah, people that want to get into real-time 3D and graphics and wherever graphics is going, I would say there's a lot to take in. There's a lot going on.
Right.
As early as you can, figure out what excites you, what you enjoy, and then test out as much as you can before you make a call. It's not too late to make a career switch. I think. I mean, I've made a few switches, but test out everything before. Like, if you're interested in 3D, download Blender and play around with it. If you're interested in video editing, do this. If you're interested in some of the other things we talked about, go read up about them. See how people are making them. Expose yourself to everything. Read up on everything, and then find out what excites you. Test it. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, something else. But definitely expose yourself to whatever you find interesting and see if you can take it forward. I know it's very general advice, but even with something like real-time 3D, the advice I always give people is even within real-time 3D, I'm like, what do you want to become? Do you want to become a game dev, architecture, simulation, and film and TV, virtual production? You'll only get those answers when you try out of them, right? So you have to experiment so that you have you should at least have awareness as to why not something.
Yeah.
And why this over that.
Yeah.
So like if someone asked me, Shaun, why are you teaching instead of making games? So I'd say I've tried both and I just like teaching. Teaching is something I enjoy doing.
Sweet.
So definitely immerse yourself as much as you can. I mean, we live in a time where Wikipedia, YouTube, itna access hai. Papers, PDFs, like Google Scholar Pay, you have so much of knowledge.
Yeah.
There's like webinars going on all the time. There's no reason for you to be in any form of silo. Go out there and like just podcasts like this, like you're talking about, listening to stuff while you drive.
Yeah.
I think as advice I would give to people is just as much as you can immerse yourself in some sort of like knowledge. I'm not saying कि गाने ही ना सुनो, but as much as you can.
Yeah. Sweet. Awesome. Okay. So, and if you could go back in time and meet your younger self, what would you say to
this
him?
was a great question, right?
Hai na?
I read that. I'm like, this is a good question. I think I'm going to steal this one for you. When we do our podcast, we're hoping to get that off soon, but this is the question I'm going to steal.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time, and what was the question specifically?
If you could go back in time and meet your younger self, what would you say to him?
Focus. I would tell him that. I would tell him to focus because there's so much time I could have saved had I paid more attention in physics or paid more attention in chemistry or paid more attention in math. In math, I would, that's what I would tell my younger self. Okay, dude, please, I know you find this really boring. Please study math. Please study math. Like if you can, because I wish I could have taken further math. But now I only found the excitement for that later on in life. And I scraped through maths because I just couldn't get it. I was too stupid. It just wasn't working out. But my younger self, I would tell him to calm down, focus and padho. Focus on math. Yeah.
Awesome.
Have fun later. Study now.
Yeah.
Sounds like a very parent thing to say, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But kya umar aa gayi?
No, really. I some of the things that like, and the funny thing is I'm using it now. I would have never thought like, and I was the worst math student, and we were working on this application to develop AR landmarks. Yeah. And I'm looking there going like, I'm like, yeah, how would I like, because the developer, there was a Chinese project and the problem was the flag was too big. Yeah. I'm thinking they're going like, man, how do I make sure the flag is always the same height? I'm like, wait, we did trigonometry. I'm like, going on YouTube. Yeah. I'm like asking Sir Bilal, I'm like, okay, how would he, and then he told, I'm going back to like old learnings. Yeah. I wish I had paid attention there. There's so much that
But this is the thing, like I'm actually going to take this part of the conversation and definitely make a clip out of it. Is because teachers also now need to kind of update themselves and pass on these real use cases of the subjects.
It was crazy. I wish I had bought my little notebook, but it was the one time where I have probably used the most math because I needed a way to get that working perfectly, the complete triangles and stuff like this, because we were converting coordinates. I had all the math going on there, but it's come up numerous times in game development, which is great because artists will take something else away because they're looking at materials. People like me are development.
And especially when you start adding in the elements of light and everything, you need to know all that stuff.
And there's amazing questions you'll get. Like things that even I had to go and really learn. Like for example, one of my friends was like, we need to program. So we were making a real-time strategy game. You click and the thing moves. Yeah. And then when I would click behind the car, it would take a long turn. My friend's like, no, bro, it should do a K turn. It should reverse and then I'm like, what the hell is a K turn? So I looked up, I'm like, oh, so then programming a computer to do a K turn, you had to learn angles, this, that, bahut maza aaya. But I think game dev, this is something that you'll be able to do, right? Unreal Engine is free. You download it and then you can kind of build on these because aapka jo, a lot of the problems that I think we're getting into, self-driving cars and all, they're basic questions. AI is something I get asked a lot on. What is AI? And when I ask people what is AI, it's a very abstract term. Yeah. But recently in a class, I had a couple of my students build a very basic AI. Yeah. They had a cube. And I'm like, दूसरी तरफ से ball आएगा. Yeah. Program this cube just to block the ball. Yeah. And they started thinking, they're like, oh, so if the ball's this high, I'll tell the cube to move there. Yeah. By about 2 hours into it, they had built a very rudimentary form of AI which was blocking the ball just by some conditions. So AI is an extension. I think if you give teachers even speaking to teachers, if they give them these simple examples,
Yeah.
much more complex concepts become easier to understand. As long
And-
as you give the student a use case.
But you have to be able to extend those core principles throughout
100%.
now.
100%.
Right? But awesome conversation. dude.
Yeah. It was
Maza aaya?
fun. Ha.
Yeah.
Always. I'm glad we finally did this.
Yeah,
I've
dude.
delayed it 3 times.
No, but it finally happened, and I think the first episode of the year. It's good that it's this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man.
First time.
But really appreciate you taking out the time.
Thank you so much.
I
for
know
having me.
it's pretty hectic now with Reality Forge
I
and all
know
the
we're
meetings.
starting our first class, and we are very nervous, and probably going to steal Ahad as well. But anyway,
No, he's not.
Please.
That's all, folks, for today. Shaun, thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for
Absolute
having
pleasure. Maza aaya. Hopefully, we'll stay consistent throughout the year with Behind the Grind. Till the next one, everybody. Bye-bye.